My stepbrother Damian kept sneaking into my bed every night, begging me to mark him. To break his obsession with his taboo relationship, I went on a blind date. That evening, Damian showed up at my door, clutching a glass of warm milk with teary eyes. "Vincent, I know I'm messed up. Don't gamble with your marriage out of spite. I'll keep my distance from now on." After drinking the milk, my limbs turned weak. The formerly docile Damian smirked viciously, pressing his thumb against my scent gland. "Forgot to tell you, big brother, I underwent secondary differentiation. Not an omega anymore. I'm an Enigma now." His breath scorched my ear. "You refused to mark me when I begged. Now it's my turn to claim you." For the nth time, I dragged Damian out from under my blankets and massaged my temples, pulling a new leather belt from the nightstand. I folded it double. "Damian, are you deaf? I'm your brother. I can't mark you." The reinforced leather creaked as I forced Damian's chin upward. Goddamn premium omega genetics. Those tearful eyes and trembling lips tested my self-control. Pity we shared parents. Tears glistened, yet defiance hardened Damian's features. "Not blood-related," he muttered. I swung the belt, the crackling air making him instinctively turn and lift his silk pajama top with teeth. The exposed, pale back arched, hips raised in perfect disciplinary posture. My heart sank seeing his unrepentant attitude. The first lash left an angry stripe across milky skin. Damian stifled a whimper. "Learned your lesson?" I asked, already regretting the strike. "Just hit me. Stop lecturing." His muffled voice held perverse satisfaction. "Even if you beat me to death, I won't stop seducing you. As long as I'm omega, I'll keep coming for you." Another vicious swing. Damian hissed through clenched teeth, then glanced at my lower abdomen with that infuriating smirk. "Vincent, don't pretend you're unaffected. You didn't push me away under the covers earlier. Felt good, didn't it? You wanted it." Heat flooded my ears. What did this brat know? Since when did physical reactions equate to affection? Lately has been my rut period. Even if it wasn't Damian tonight, even if it were another omega, I believe I'd still react this way. Yet Damian clings to this detail like a lifeline, seizing my moment of distraction. He breaches boundaries again, serpentine limbs coiling around my back as his breath ghosts my ear. "Vincent," he murmurs, "I know you're afraid others will look down on me. Everything you do is for my sake." His fingers trail down my pectorals. "If you're so concerned about appearances, we could always keep it secret." My gaze drops to his teasing fingers. In one fluid motion, I slam him onto the mattress. He lounges against the headboard, smirk sharpening as I snatch a towel to cover myself. "Damian," I bite out, looming over him. "Stop deluding yourself. If you refuse to change, get out. I'll disown you." The thread hangs like guillotine steel. He crumples instantly, crawling forward to clutch my towel hem. "Vincent, I'm sorry. I'll never sneak into your bed again. Just don't cast me aside." I grip his jaw, forcing eye contact. "This ends tonight. At dawn, I meet the omega my friend recommended." Perhaps she's right. Damian mistakes codependency for love, warped by our isolated existence. Marriage might reset proper boundaries. "Mr. Charles extends his hand across the cafe table. "Given our mutual need to placate families, let's expedite the marriage license." I nod. Agreed. Our handshake freezes mid-air as Damian materializes in the periphery, immaculate in black-tailored suit. He sips espresso like a predator savoring prey. His gaze drags from my face to our joined hands, eyes darkening. Though I'm the alpha, his omega intensity chills my spine. The china clinks as Damian sets down his cup. 3 strides, and he's upon us, a velvet voice storm. "Brother dearest." His smile glints with shattered porcelain edges. "Introduce me to your collaborator." He snatched my hand away from Charles with a cold expression, then pulled a handkerchief from his suit pocket. Damian meticulously wiped each of my fingers, paying attention to every crevice. When finished, he raised an eyebrow and stared at Charles with a humorless smile, his hostility unmistakable. My apologies. My brother Vincent has germophobia. I frowned at Damian. Since when did I have germophobia? Wasn't he the one obsessed with cleanliness? When he got beaten up at school as a kid, I went to clean up his mess. After accidentally brushing hands with his bullies, he'd lunged at them like a rabid animal. Later, under the faucet, he'd scrubbed my hands raw while sobbing threats. Vincent's mine. No one touches him. I'll kill anyone who lays a finger on my brother. Since that incident, even my closest friends avoided physical contact after hearing the story. Now I realized his obsession began long ago. I'd mistaken his possessiveness for brotherly dependence, pulling my hand free. I stepped back. If we were doing this, now was the time. Intertwining fingers with Charles under Damian's stormy gaze, I announced, perfect timing. Meet Charles, my fiancé. You'll respect him as you do me. Call him brother-in-law or Charles. Glass shattered as Damian punched through the cafe wall. Blood dripped from his knuckles as he nodded mechanically before stalking out. His retreating figure made my chest constrict like crushed shards. Charles sighed. Vincent, your relationship with your brother. Dinner. I cut him off, glancing at the exit. This was for Damian's own good. Returning home at 10 p.m., I found Damian in black loungewear, eyes glistening. You're really marrying that Omega? This house needs life, I affirmed. You want him to bear your children? His leap startled me, but I nodded. He'll be my wife. That's natural. Damian, I said firmly, I'm engaged now. You're grown. You understand boundaries. I expected his usual outburst. Instead, he stood motionless as midnight oil dripped from his wounded hand onto the marble floor. At least it's not like this right now. He just stood there, quietly, staring at me without saying a word. His uncharacteristic silence made me uneasy. Had I gone too far? Softening my tone, I reached out to pat his shoulder like I used to when giving advice. But my hand met empty air. Damian, I reassured, using his full name for the first time. Even after I get married, I'll still care for you the same. Nothing will change. There'll just be another person in the family to love you. Vincent took a step back, lowering his gaze. When he looked up at my hovering hand, his faint smile sent chills down my spine. The mansion's hollow silence amplified his deep, abyssal voice. Whatever you decide, brother. He disappeared into the kitchen. I lingered in the foyer, wrestling with guilt until Damian reappeared holding warm milk. His red-rimmed eyes met mine directly this time as he pressed the mug into my hands. I know I'm messed up. Don't throw yourself into a sham marriage with Charles. I'll keep my distance from now on. His oath came swift and brutal. I swear never to overstep again. Not a single improper thought. Or may lightning strike me dead. Let me die unmated during heat. My pheromones rotting and used. The venom in his vow twisted my heart. Relenting, I canceled the arranged marriage with Charles right there. The fleeting triumph in Damian's eyes could have been my imagination. He urged me to drink the milk, claiming exhaustion from the day's events. The drug hit within 60 seconds. My legs buckled as the cabinet's edge bit into my palm. The timid Omega I'd raised now stalked closer, wolfish grin reappearing. Overpowering mint pheromones, nothing like his usual citrus scent, flooded the space, contradicting everything I knew about secondary genders. Damian closed in, the predator in him unrestrained. The villa was instantly filled with an intoxicating mint scent, sharp yet addictive, a temptation even my top-tier alpha instincts couldn't resist. Within seconds, the aphrodisiac Damian had slipped me began reacting violently to his pheromones. My body turned feverish and weak. My rut triggered weeks early. Alphas in rut usually turn feral. Yet here I lay paralyzed under the crushing weight of his pheromones, unable to even remove my shirt. The humiliation burned worse than the million ants crawling beneath my skin. Slumped against the door, I gulped air that only deepened my intoxication with every breath. Damian stood to toe with me, his gaze crawling down to my tinted pants. You fold so easily. Vincent, he mocked, watching me struggle to cover myself. His icy fingers traced my throat before expertly kneading my scent gland, drawing choked whimpers I barely recognized as my own. The revelation struck through the haze. Those overwhelming pheromones were his. But you're Omega, I rasped. His laughter vibrated against my neck as he bit my gland. Secondary gender mutation. Brother dearest, now I'm the Enigma. His grip turned punishing. Remember when I begged for your mark? Tonight I'll return the favor. I thrashed weakly as he flipped me face, first against the door. His teeth sank deeper while his palm cracked against my ass. Stop fighting. The paralytic was just insurance. He purred, grinding his arousal into me. Tears of desperation fell as I tried reasoning. Damian, they'll destroy you. The shareholders would never let a brother fucking deviant inherit. Let them try. His tongue laved the bite mark. Father wanted a guard dog to protect his precious Omega heir. But this? His hips snapped forward, drawing a broken moan from us both. This is what happens when the watchdog becomes the master's obsession. Therefore, I was relatively strict in disciplining him. Unlike the formality typical of employer-employee relationships, Damian preferred calling me brother. After I joined the Lewis family and adopted their surname, outsiders gradually assumed I was Damian's biological brother. This allowed him to rely on me, but falling in love was absolutely forbidden. Since Mr. Lewis's passing, the scheming veterans on the board have been searching for any misstep to force Damian out. If they discovered his feelings for a powerless assistant like me, they'd exploit it mercilessly. To the public, I was Damian's brother, but those cunning old foxes wouldn't blur the lines, no matter how long I'd served the family or what achievements I made. In their eyes, I remained a powerless lapdog, a guard dog leashed to the Lewis estate. Hiss, my back chilled as Damian ripped my white shirt down the middle from behind, exposing my spine to the cool air. He pressed closer, his belt buckle digging into my waist. My heightened sensitivity triggered uncontrollable shivers. His low voice ghosted over my shoulder. Vincent, I told you, I'm an enigma. How many in this empire could rival me? Let alone the company. What can those fossils possibly do? You think I'm a monster? He chuckled darkly, biting harder into my scent gland. His icy pheromones flooded me, alternating between clarity and delirium, euphoric. Addictive. You're right. I am a monster. Even if we were blood-related, it wouldn't matter. Once I claim something, I'll take it whether you're human, ghost, or God. You can't escape unless you kill me. He gripped my arms, forcing me to face him. Blood smeared his lips, his own or mine from the marking. He looked both divine and deranged. Earlier, you said this house felt too empty. I agree. When I was an Omega, I begged you to mark me. I wanted your child to see if they'd inherit your traits or mine, but you refused. Now I can mark you instead. Did you know alphas can carry children too? His hand clamped my jaw, tilting my head up. His fevered gaze raked over my body before he shoved me forward, trapping me against his chest. Slap. A sharp crack echoed through the mansion, his palm striking my bare hip. Damian's smile widened, voice dripping with dark allure. If I go deep enough, I'll find your reproductive chamber. Vincent, let me give you a child. Once you bear my child, you'll stop trying to push me away. I stared at Damian in disbelief. Before I could speak, his crushing kiss silenced me. He claimed me violently. The foyer, sofa, living room carpet, kitchen counter. Every room and floor-to-ceiling window in the mansion bore witness to Damian's madness. When dawn tinged the sky, he carried me to the bathroom and placed me in the tub, his energy undiminished. Vincent, I think I found it. Madness. The Lewis family truly breeds insanity. I'd heard stories about old Mr. Lewis and Damian's mother. She was originally betrothed to Damian's uncle, but Vincent's father publicly ripped out the uncle's glands during their engagement banquet, rendering him powerless to compete for family succession. They said it was justified love between Vincent's parents, thwarted by arranged marriage politics. Watching Damian now, I finally understood that infamous Lewis ferocity. His pheromones pinned me helpless as he took me front and back, reducing me to tearful begging. My cries only fueled his frenzy. "You're breathtaking when you weep," he murmured, licking salt from my cheeks. "Promise me these tears will only fall beneath me." I closed my eyes, wishing for death. I'd failed Vincent's father. The promising heir I'd mentored had become this monster. When my secretary called about the board meeting, Damian finally released me after 5 hours, numbly gathering my shredded clothes. I froze when he snatched them away, arms crossed. He admired his handiwork, my body mapped with bites and bruises. Now I understood why he'd installed those full-length bathroom mirrors. The humiliation burned. Damn the Lewis family and their deranged traditions. After staring at me for what felt like eternity, Damian finally allowed me to dress, though he insisted on doing it himself. "Vincent," he murmured while adjusting my tie, his cool fingers brushing against my throat. "From now on, I won't tolerate anyone else near you. Not even pretend fiancés like Charles." The fleeting touch resurrected last night's memory of his hands around my neck, demanding tears. His current words blurred reality and recollection. "You know exactly what I'm capable of, brother." At the mansion's entrance, our driver stared a beat too long. "What?" I snapped. The man scratched his nose awkwardly. "Mr. You're rather strongly scented." Heat flooded my ears. Damn Damian and his obsessive scent marking last night. As the car pulled away, the driver couldn't resist turning. "Sir, where'd you find an omega that potent to overwhelm a top alpha like you?" Unless his eyes widened. "Wait, are you actually drive?" I cut him off, raising the privacy partition. My tablet glowed with the overseas expansion plans for Lewis Enterprises, Damian's coronation project. Though the public saw me as the corporate face, every strategic move originated from that brilliant, reclusive mind. Our partnership had worked for years. I handled the boardroom wolves while he schemed in shadows, weeding out traitors. Soon, this successful launch would make my presence obsolete. I'd imagined retirement as quiet days tending to Damian's needs, the big brother role I'd embraced since his father's passing. But last night changed everything. Now even maintaining that fiction threatened his hard-won position as an enigma. The world wouldn't understand our bond, and Damian's social aversion made him vulnerable to scandals. My finger hovered over our family portrait wallpaper, really just cropped from a decades-old Lewis family photo. The right choice burned clearer than ever. I'd disappear completely before my existence became his weakness. The realization squeezed my chest strangely. I blinked against stinging eyes, focusing on merger documents. One final project. Then Vincent would vanish from Damian's story forever. I never thought I deserved to be in the frame. But Damian insisted on pulling me into the shot, sulking like a child. "If Vincent doesn't take the photo, I won't either." Growing up in an orphanage without family, I'd have remained nobody if not for being a top-tier alpha. No Lewis family patronage. No meeting Damian. No concept of family. Family, that word used to feel as distant as constellations to an orphan. Yet Damian gripped my hand like discovering buried treasure that day. When I tried to decline, he looked me dead in the eyes. Vincent, we're family. Suddenly, family wasn't some abstract concept anymore. It had flesh and bone. It was Damian. The truth is, I've fallen first, earlier than Damian ever did. My body's visceral reactions betrayed me constantly, but I kept pretending. Damian deserves perfection, not some charity case clinging to his family's coattails. Being a top-tier alpha changes nothing. It can't erase orphanage grime from under my nails or the cruel manipulations I used on our caretakers. So I hide, save screenshots of our photos like some creep, deleting them before dawn like they're porn. Now he's offering sunlight to my shadows? Anyone would cave, but I can't. Changed my wallpaper. Purged our only photo from cloud storage. The corporate purge went smoothly. We rooted out most of the old guard loyal to Damian's uncle. On project launch day, Damian came to headquarters himself, tomorrow's CEO taking stock. Tonight's gala would cement his connections with my hard-earned contacts. Yet he remained locked in his study pre-event. Cigarette haze assaulted me when I entered. Damian sat framed by floor-to-ceiling windows, carpet littered with crushed butts. Lately my stomach's been revolting. The acrid smoke triggered fresh nausea. He stubbed out his cigarette upon seeing me. Bloodshot eyes met mine as he pulled me into his lap. Rough stubble grazing my neck. His whole body radiated vulnerability. This should be his triumph after years of corporate warfare. Why the existential crisis? I carted fingers through his tousled hair. Talk to me. His arms tightened like I might dissolve. The rasp in his voice scraped raw. What if I'm not ready? Vincent, now that the task my father assigned you is over, are you going to leave me? My hand froze midair, heart skipping a beat. He was always perceptive, just like his father. Damian inherited the Lewis family's uncanny ability to read people, though unlike his uncle Mr. Lewis, who eliminated perceived threats mercilessly, Damian preferred strategizing from shadows after his parents' deaths. The memory surfaced unbidden. 12-year-old Damian, sitting between two white-shrouded bodies at the crash site. Those hollow eyes locking onto mine. When he finally crumpled into my arms, his choked sobs shook us both. Do I not have parents anymore? He'd asked between gasps. I could only hold him tighter, repeating like a prayer, I'm here. I'll always be here. Every death anniversary since. He'd make me reaffirm that promise. This year nearly slipped past me, the impending board meeting and my own condition clouding my judgment. His grip tightened on my neck as our lips met, the sharp tang of mint flooding my senses. Later, watching him lounge shirtless against silk sheets, cigarette abandoned the moment I re-entered, I marveled at how easily he reverted to that vulnerable boy when I dressed him. Stay, he murmured against my lips while I adjusted his tie. That dangerous smile playing across his face. After tomorrow's meeting, we're getting married at City Hall. My traitorous heart raced despite knowing what sunrise would bring. Yes, I heard myself answer, the lie tasting bitter. At the gala, I watched Damian work the room with polished charm, his hand periodically finding mine under the table. The crystal chandeliers blurred as I counted down the hours. Each congratulations, Mr. Lewis twisting the knife deeper. When he leaned in to whisper, our flight to Switzerland leaves at dawn, I almost believed we could outrun the truth. The timid little boy, who once begged for my protection with tears, has long since grown into a man. It was only in this moment that I realized Damian had mastered the art of social navigation years ago. His reluctance to stand independently stemmed not from incapacity, but from his former status as an Omega. He feared losing my presence should he solidify his authority, doubted his ability to maintain that position securely, and questioned whether he could truly protect me. Now that I examine it closely, every decision he made was paving my path forward. This wasn't mere deception or false modesty. He was genuinely preparing to surrender the CEO position to me. And Omega's perceived limitations made him believe transferring power was the only way to safeguard me. But now he's an enigma. Now he can protect me himself. That's why he refuses to let heavy burdens weigh on my shoulders anymore. My nose stung as I lowered my head, composing myself before meeting Damian's gaze. He smiled at me, downing another glass of liquor, one after another. He drank to prove his mastery of social graces, his capability to command respect, his determination to overcome any obstacle threatening our union. Each demonstration twisted my heart tighter. He never noticed the drug glass among his drinks tonight. By dawn, I'll be gone forever. My phone vibrated during his conversation with others. Charles's message glowed. Frowny face, mister. Don't. Results confirmed. You're pregnant. Still leaving? Me? Yes. Proceed as planned. After delivering Damian to his estate, I pressed one final kiss to his lips before packing. Charles's car idled at the gates when I emerged with luggage. He sighed heavily upon seeing me. Frankly, Vincent, I can't comprehend this. You and Damian are perfect for each other. His current status, both socially and biologically, eliminates every barrier. Why insist on leaving? Especially now. Without his presence during heats, you'll suffer unbearably. And the pregnancy. I glanced back at the mansion before sliding into the passenger seat. Charles shook his head, accelerating into the night. Aboard the departing cruise ship, I blocked every contact tied to Damian. The remote nation I chose should keep him searching for decades. There. I gave birth to his mirror image, a little enigma named Nina. I expected to grow old in that quiet city. He found us during a rainstorm. Nina was at a friend's house. When she didn't return, I grabbed an umbrella to search for her alone. Coincidentally, it was the peak of my heat cycle. Every rut since leaving Damian had been torture. Barely steps from my door, a passerby rushing home knocked me over. My inhibitor vial shattered on the pavement. Gritting my teeth, I staggered forward only to collapse roadside. Every inch of my skin burned. Crouched against a brick wall, I clawed at my thighs seeking control. Useless. As consciousness wavered, familiar mint cut through my pheromone chaos. My raging hormones quieted, yet the inferno within intensified. The rain suddenly stopped above me. I looked up into storm cloud eyes. Damian's polished Oxford ground into my lower abdomen. He'd always known exactly where to apply pressure. The cruel friction brought equal parts agony and relief. His voice sliced through the howling wind. Vincent, how resourceful you've become. Drugging me. Disappearing. I thought you'd thrive without me. Believed our marriage was mere theater. His shoe twisted deeper. Voice hardening. Look at this pathetic creature now. When he gripped my jaw, our foreheads touching, I glimpsed anguish beneath his fury. Where's the man I married? His kiss erupted like a typhoon. As ocean winds roared, I pummeled his chest. If he tracked me here, he must know about our daughter. MMPH Damian. The baby first. He broke away snarling. You think our child shares your stupidity? She's been home for hours. The renewed assault left me boneless. Damian hauled me toward a black Bentley, ignoring my struggles. Silk ties secured my wrists as he stripped me bare. Mint and bergamot pheromones fused in a suffocating luxury sedan. When my body arched in surrender, he paused. Sweat dripped from his jaw onto my heaving chest. Vincent, does it hurt? With defenses shattered, I met his gaze truthfully. Like hell. It's agony. Damian chuckled. I've been in agony too. For nearly 7 years. I sighed, thinking Damian wasn't going to give it to me. He spoke again. Vincent, if you want it, act like you want it. Beg me, or come get it yourself. Yin was already home when we returned, munching watermelon on the couch. She dropped the fruit and sprinted toward us the moment she spotted Damian and me. Their familiarity startled me. My usually reserved daughter practically launched herself into Damian's arms. Frowning, I pulled her back. When did you two start contacting each other? Their shared grins said everything. 3 years ago. Ninian piped up in her squeaky voice. She'd noticed me crying over Damian's photos, then secretly used my phone to snap pictures of his image. For months, she'd roamed our small town, showing strangers his face, convinced he'd hurt me. Damian's search team finally crossed paths with her persistence. I thought she was just playing outside. I muttered, staring at this man who'd apparently been co-parenting behind my back. Why wait so long to come? Someone stubborn. His smirk didn't reach his eyes. What good's finding you if I didn't remove every reason you'd flee again? I want forever. The boring kind. The confession spilled out like poison. At 12, I become the orphanage director's favorite toy. His camera captured my shame, his threats echoing even after Mr. Lewis paid my freedom. The night before emancipation, I smeared industrial lubricant across his bathtub, watched through cracked doors as his head cracked against porcelain. Bubbles slowing in blood-tinged water. Should have drowned slower. I whispered to the darkness. That monster nearly cost me everything twice. First my childhood, then the family I'd kill to protect. Damian's arms tightened around us both, our daughter's laughter weaving through his promise. No more running. Back then, I thought killing the orphanage director would end everything. But during my 5th year with the Lewis family, when old Mr. Lewis passed away, I received an anonymous email containing those incriminating photos from past. Initially, the blackmailer simply demanded I ruin Damian. Coincidentally, Damian himself was playing the long game, pretending to be incompetent. We maintained the facade perfectly. Then the blackmailer discovered Damian's feelings for me. The demands escalated. He wanted us to become involved, only to destroy Damian afterward. I knew complying would trigger the release of those photos, exposing Damian's connection to someone tainted with a murderous past. Such scandal would have toppled him from power instantly. Damian later traced the blackmailer to my childhood tormentor from the orphanage, who'd been bribed by his uncle. Over the years, he not only made my abusers pay, but also orchestrated his uncle's institutionalization. When that uncle died earlier this year, Damian forced my remaining bullies to surrender to authorities. Every potential threat had been systematically eliminated. His hand suddenly closed over mine. Those intense eyes locked onto mine. Still planning to run? Vincent, I sniffled, shaking my head with red-rimmed eyes. Taking down Damian's uncle hadn't been easy. Though stripped of power years ago, the man retained loyal followers. Damian's solo crusade must have been brutal. Pulled into his embrace, I barely blocked his incoming kiss. The baby's watching. Damian smirked, covering our daughter's eyes with one hand while his other arm snaked around my waist. The kiss lasted just seconds before I felt his physical reaction. Flushing crimson, I shoved at his chest. Our daughter's voice piped up. Joey's mom and dad kissed for hours when making his brother. Can you kiss till dark? Then I can play at Joey's longer. She darted out before we could respond. The door clicked shut as Damian lifted me bridal style. Outside, the storm had cleared to sunshine. Inside our bedroom, tempests of a different kind raged. We rode the waves together, his teeth grazing my ear as he breathed. Missed you so much. Vincent. I clung tighter. The feeling was mutual. Damian. Desperately mutual. Can you fucking bite softer? It's really sensitive there.